Oh, there you go. Now hit the speaker.
Speaker. WWB.
Hey, Ken Wilson here. What's going on?
Hey, not much. How you tonight? This is Tommy Lee.
Hey, I'm doing great. Doing great, Tommy Lee.
We got Gracie right over here too. Say hello.
Hi, Ken.
Hey, Gracie. I thank you all so much for having me on the show. I've been really looking forward to it.
I have really been looking forward to it, Ken. Your music was a pleasant surprise for me. I was real excited when I got to hear some of it. You are a great songwriter.
Thanks, Gracie. It's been a pleasant surprise for me to have the good fortune to have now several radio stations, as well as internet radio stations, play my songs.
Right.
And, you write songs when you're a person like myself who's not in the music business and not ever really tried to be in the music business, but you write these songs that they're like your children and you protect them and, I just never dreamed I'd have my songs played in such a way that some people could be exposed to them outside my friends and family. So I really, really appreciate what you've done with playing my songs on the air.
Well, I've got some favorites. I love the Ballad of Principal Johnson and Going Home. Fear is really cool.
Oh, that's a great song.
Tommy really liked Fear too, and of course he likes the spunky between Virginia and Tennessee.
I enjoyed that. I was bouncing in my chair.
Yeah, he liked that one. And
yeah.
I really liked.
Well, that was that Virginia Tennessee song was my attempt to write a bluegrass sounding feeling type song because
right.
It's certainly every word of it's true, and it's actually it's really, that song is really inspired by two of my sisters who moved away from we're from southeast Kentucky, and I don't know if you have a translator there in the studio or not, but being from southeast Kentucky, I speak broken English, so I don't know. But
we
anyway,
understand you fine.
My sisters moved away, and that song, I had set out to write this song about them and for them with their spirit in mind. But as I got into it, I was having really a hard time making the gender thing all kind of work out. So I just turned it into a male song, but that type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
But that was, being from where we're from, it just made a lot of sense to me. It just come out feeling that way, just a good straight ahead bluegrass tune.
Right.
That's a great song.
Well, Ken, let's talk a little bit about you, because like I said, you were new to me, and
Mr. Wilson.
We were calling you Mr. Wilson.
We were teasing about
like
that
Dennis.
before you called. She kept calling you Mr. Wilson will be here, and I said, just looked at her funny. She said, "You're thinking Dennis the Menace, aren't you?"
Mr. Wilson. But I just think your voice. You have an incredible voice. Tell us a little bit about how you got started in music. Were you very young when you started playing, or what?
Well, I think obviously always just been a huge music fan and just love all kinds of music, and from a very early age. I didn't start playing an instrument until I think I was 18 years old. So that's a late start by most people's standards. I'd always been kind of an athlete in my early years when most people that become very good musicians those are the formidable years for pickers.
Right.
And that's incidentally that's why I never really consider myself a bluegrass musician per se, because I can't play well enough to play that style of music, but I just do what I do. But when I got into college, my freshman year in college, that kind of the sports thing kind of went away, which was what I spent all my time being interested in. And when I was no longer able to, I guess, express myself or use that as an outlet, any type of artistry is just an outlet. It's a creative flow.
Right.
And so without the chance to hit a ball or kick a ball or whatever, I had some roommates there, and I actually want to give a shout out to my old buddy Alan Backus, who I think is listening in way up in Michigan. And we were roommates in college, and just a whole bunch of buddies that all were great musicians, and I had never been around anybody who could really sing and play like that. I mean, just people on TV, you know?
Right.
And just having a chance to be around those guys, and they encouraged me because I love music and I love to try to sing, and they helped me a lot, a ton, and just helped me to gain confidence. So it really kind of started for me as far as speaking and singing when I was 18, 19 years old, as a freshman at David Lipscomb University in Nashville.
I was going to ask you something else. On your project, these are all 12 of your songs, or I think your sister Linda told me that one of them was a Steve Gully song.
Actually, there's 15 songs on my project, Prodigal, and I wrote all of those songs except for one, which was, I'm really proud of that song, a song called Born to Be a Mother.
Yeah, I love that.
The song I wrote, certainly wrote obviously from my dear mother.
Right.
And I had the song, I had the melody, I had all of the words, I had really all the verses written, and I was really happy with the way it had turned out. And but I thought it needed something just to kind of make it even more special and kind of over the top. And what I thought was it really needs the Gully factor, what I call it. And Steve Gully, of course, produced my record, and is a dear close friend of mine, one of my best friends in the world, and we're neighbors here in East Tennessee. And I owe Steve a great debt of gratitude for encouraging me and giving me a chance to record a project of this nature at his place.
Right.
And but I called Steve up and I said, I've got this song. It's it's near and dear to my heart. I never knew that I would really show that song to anybody.
Oh, I love it. I think it's a great song.
Well, thanks. I appreciate it. I was so it's intensely personal. Obviously, I guess all my songs end up being, but that one I thought, well, I'll show it to a couple of family members, and most of them really can't really listen to it because it's just so gut wrenching as far as missing our mom.
Right.
But I thought this is a healing thing for me. So that song that I wrote, I called Steve up and I said, would you be willing to work with me on that a little bit? So Steve Gully helped me write the bridge to the song and the melody to that, and I'm so happy that he was willing to do that. But all 15 songs I wrote, and then that song was, I guess, technically a co-write, even though Steve probably wouldn't take credit for it, but I won't let him back out in the future.
Heck no. You can say he helped. Like, shake and bake chicken. I helped.
Yeah, I helped.
Let's go ahead and play that. Let's go ahead and play that for our listeners. I want to play a couple of your songs. We've got 30 minutes. Well, now we've got 20, but I want to go ahead and get in a couple of, maybe 3 even, because there's just, I can't find my favorite. Do you have a favorite other than Born to Be a Mother? I mean, is there something else that you would like featured? Because I thought about Fear. Tommy and I both really went crazy over Fear. And
I love the way the track Fear turned out.
Yeah.
It's really close to the way that I really conceived it, just with the guitar.
Yeah.
And the way, and the reason I wanted to make this project, it ends up, people that know bluegrass music, they know this is not a bluegrass project. And people that don't know bluegrass music would certainly think it is, just because of the instrumentation.
Right.
But I'm a huge fan of, I guess, second, third generation bluegrass music. I have great appreciation for the traditional music as well.
Right.
But certainly I don't have that sound, and I just love the bluegrass flavored music, I call it.
Yeah.
And I felt like this might be the only project I ever made, and I had access to these great pickers through Steve Gully.
Oh yeah.
And I thought, well, I'd be an idiot not to take advantage of that opportunity. So, and I love hearing that stuff. So the way I approached my project was, how do I want to, what do I want to listen to when I'm driving down the road coming through my speakers, and certainly my song springs with, a mandolin and a fiddle and a dobro, and my favorite guitar player probably in the world is an unknown regional guy by the name of Philip Powers, who It's, I love his picking, and was just honored to have him play most of the guitar on my record. So that's what I wanted to hear coming out of my stereo, with, you know, my songs in context of that.
Well, let me go ahead and play this song. You want to tell everybody who your mother is, and we'll dedicate this to her.
Yes, my sweet mother, Eva Wilson. She passed away just a few years ago, and I know she's listening somewhere tonight.
All right. Well, this goes out to Eva Wilson, the mother of Ken Wilson, a really great discovery that I've just discovered recently. His project is called Prodigal, and here's Born to Be a Mother on the WWB, worldwidebluegrass.com.
Up before the morning sun, trying to get things done in time to send me off to school. And just like every day before, as we walk out the door, we hug just like two silly fools. So many times I've sat and wondered why mamas hold on like they do. I began to understand the last time I held your hand, why letting go was hard for you. You were born to be a mother, and that's what good mothers do. You're an angel like no other. There's not another one like you. You bought my favorite baseball glove, taught me how to show love, never tried to run my life. Always willing to share your time, you give me your last dime, though my words cut like a knife. No matter what, you wouldn't judge me. You made a way to see me through. Not a single day goes by I don't miss those eyes since I had to say goodbye to you. You were born to be a mother, and a mother you will be. You still mean as much as ever, though you're not here with me. No, you're not here, but I know you're not very far away. And I hope I'm everything you thought I'd be. Sometime we'll sit and talk as if we've never missed a day, and you'll feel this empty hole inside of me. You were born to be a mother. Lord knows what you've been through. There will never be another, and I'm so proud of you.
And that was Ken Wilson, Born to Be a Mother. That is beautiful, Ken. You have a great voice.
Thank you. I'm glad you like the song. I'm glad you like my voice. It's taken a lot of years for me to make peace with the sound of my voice, and I think
I can relate to that.
I've had a lot of people say that about themselves. So I'm not the only one. I'm glad to know I'm not. But but I finally, I don't know, 15, 20 years ago, I started making recordings of my songs and songs I was trying to learn with a cassette recorder.
Right.
And I heard, played it back, and I thought, who is that guy? Because I kind of lost a lot of confidence at that point. I thought, I don't really like the way I sound. I thought I sounded better than that in my own head, And so it's just, I quit singing for a while. It's like, well, I'll sing in my, privacy of my room. But what I kind of figured out after a little bit of that is I love it so much, and it does so much for me, that expression that, if I don't sound good, I apologize to people. But
no, you sound great. I'm really impressed with the quality
I don't think you
of
need
your
to
voice.
apologize to anybody.
Now, who's playing the instruments? You have did you have Steve Gully on the guitar or what?
Steve played. He played electric bass on all of the tracks. There's a couple of 3 tracks where he actually played the upright acoustic bass, the doghouse bass, I guess we call it. And he played a little bit of guitar on it with what we call the dad gad guitar. Musicians will know what that means, but that's where you take a guitar and you tune it to non-standard pitch, and it creates kind of an illusion of a wall of guitars, and that's the effect we were wanting to get. I love that effect, even though it's some people it's a non-standard way of playing, but the effect is good. In the end, you did a lot of that stuff, a very creative approach to guitar recording, and he played the bass. He played bass and some a little guitar and did all the harmony vocals on there.
Right.
I did just a little bit of harmony vocals, and Steve did all the good stuff. And we had the good fortune of having Miss Dale Ann Bradley come in and sing on 3 different tracks on my.
Well, that's nothing to sneeze at. The female vocalist of the year for IBMA 5 times in a row. I think that's pretty impressive. Steve Gully and Dale Ann Bradley on your project, Ken. It's
Good
nothing to sneeze at. Yeah. You might want to throw that out there once in a while.
Well, I'm name dropping big time.
I don't
here,
blame
anyway,
you.
But I'm just so fortunate to those guys being able to be willing to help me on my project, and just fortunate to have them as just some of a couple of my best friends in the world, and they've been so good to me and invited me to on stage with them several times, and I tell the story sometimes about Dale Ann. I first heard her sing at our high school talent show about 1982, 81, something like that. And I had never heard anything like that. I still to this day, it did something to me that was just so, I just felt transported by her
voice.
The voice of an angel.
She does. She has a very angelic voice. I think they call her the songbird of the mountains, and she deserves that title. She's actually a songbird. I wanted to ask you, let me ask you about one of these songs, The Ballad of Principal Johnson. Is that a real principal?
Actually, that is I guess you could say, a mythological creation of mine as far as the name goes. What I wanted to do, I had the way I approached that song is kind of, I guess you would say, a collage. What it is, it's certainly a story. It appears to be about a person, but what it really is it's bits and pieces of a lot of my colleagues, my coworkers, former principals. There's a lot of myself in there, and rather than to approach the song as it just makes more sense to. I just did it as a straight line story, but it's not a. And the reason I chose the name Johnson is because it's kind of a generic name.
Right.
I could have said Smith, but or Brown. I needed I wanted a 2-syllable thing.
Right.
So sorry about that. Not a real person per se, but certainly it's definitely about all real people.
Well, I really like that. I'm gonna spin that one, and then we're gonna close your interview with Fear, because
let's get him. Tell everybody out there where they
yeah,
can get your music.
where can they find
Where can
this
they find
project to buy it?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I sell them out of the back of my car. But a more convenient way, this day and age of digital downloads, you certainly can find my project on iTunes. You just search Ken Wilson Prodigal, Prodigal, is the name of my project. And
let me ask you, was there a reason for you calling that Prodigal? Was you a prodigal son?
Well, it actually, Prodigal, the reason I chose that was because the story of the prodigal son is obviously a biblical reference, but
right.
Just going back to myself as a musician, I had, I've always played cover songs, I've always done other people's music, you do what you have to do to get people to listen to you, and I've always made, a part of my living playing music on the side, but obviously my first love is to play my own songs and sing my own songs, which
right.
is a difficult thing to do.
Right.
But when I finally made the decision to pull the trigger and make a project, I thought Prodigal would be a good title for that project because it's basically just going back to myself.
Right.
Just a return.
Right. Well, let me go ahead. I'm going to go ahead and spin the Ballad of Principal Johnson. I thought it was a cute little song, and I think our listeners will enjoy it. Folks, you're listening to the WWB World Wide Bluegrass.com. Tommy Lee and I have a guest named Ken Wilson, and if you didn't know him before tonight, you will now. Here's Ballad of Principal Johnson from his project Prodigal.
Wears his name tag like a medal, parks the same place every day. First one there, the last one leaving. He won't have it no other way. Underpaid and underrated, he's the keeper of the flame. What he does well will go unnoticed. When they fail, he'll take the blame. It's his destiny. He does his best to see that no child is left behind. His work is never done. Like the setting sun, he thinks he's running out of time. He set out to be a teacher. It did not work out that way. The job he does is not that simple. It's so much more than that today. 'Cause the children are the future. They're our last line of defense. When it comes to their investment, we should spare no expense. It's a mystery why they cannot see that he's real on their side. He's misunderstood, but for their own good, he would gladly give his life. Takes the stage at graduation, and the cameras slowly flash. He says, too many children are like airplanes, get no attention till they crash. When you leave this place this evening, and it won't cost you a dime, the best gift to give your children is just a little of your time. He's making history, his mind is never free when he lays down his head at night. There's a piece of him with every one of them. He only hopes he's taught them right. He wore his name tag like a medal. For his work they hung a sign. First one here, the last one leaving. Mr. Johnson, Central High.
And that's Ken Wilson, Ballad of Principal Johnson. I'll tell you why that song really touched me, Ken. I went to Newport High School, and one of my children did too, and we had a coach, Ray Brown, and his brother Grady. They both taught at Newport High School, and that just kind of reminded me of them because they've touched the students' lives. In particular, my son, who was going through a hard time at the time. So that kind of, so many teachers and principals, and they don't realize how many, generations of children whose life they touch. And I just thought that was a really cool song that you did there. I love that.
Well, thank you for noticing. And one of the lines there in the song is, there's a teacher. There's a piece of you with every student you have. If
Right.
you stay in the business long enough, they take a piece of you with them. They may not be aware of it. They may not be a conscious. It might not be a conscious thing, but sometimes it takes 10 or 20 years to
Right.
run into someone, and they'll tell you that something meant something to them.
Right.
And, it's a thankless job, but I don't know how many teacher songs are out there, but I just felt the need to write that song for tribute to all my wonderful co-workers,
All the
students,
educators,
and
right.
the teaching profession in general. If we don't take care of our teachers in this country, we're in a world of hurt.
You got that right. You're getting a lot of favorable comments from just the chatters in the chat room too. They really are enjoying your music. But yeah, educators are a lot of times unsung heroes. We think of that tragedy at Sandy Hook, and how the one teacher stepped in front of her children, and they sure have the educators today sure have a totally different job than they used to.
Absolutely.
It's a lot harder. There's a lot more stress. Worried about the safety of the children as much as anything anymore. Not just giving them something to take with them through their life, but also, keeping them safe.
Yep.
Is a big deal anymore. So, yeah, that's an awesome song. The name of his project, folks, is Prodigal. You can find it on iTunes, you said. And do you have a website yet, Ken?
I don't. I would like for enough people to call in, write in, make a bunch of noise where that I have to, it'd be good to need a website.
Well, you're on Facebook, right? So they can contact you on Facebook.
I'm actually not on Facebook.
Well, your sister is.
Like that. But now, my of course,
Linda.
iTunes was mentioned, but any of the download stores, most of them, all of the Spotify and Amazon.com. If you want a hard copy of my CD, they're at Amazon.
Right.
And I don't know all of them to list, but I know there's a good 20 digital download stores that have my project.
So they can probably just Google Ken Wilson and Prodigal and come up with your CD somewhere.
Yes, definitely that, and certainly if you use Rhapsody or if you have a favorite Amazon MP3 or iTunes or whatever, definitely search it on those search engines, and it'll take you right there.
Well, Ken, it's time to let you go. I've really enjoyed these last 30 minutes with you. I want to thank you for being our guest tonight. Tell me, what did you think? You're impressed, aren't you?
Yes,
I can
am.
tell. You're just grinning from ear to ear. We love to find people like you, that people need to be heard, that have talent, not just in the writing, but also in the performing. You've got a wonderful voice. So
and a good personality.
And a
to
great
go with it.
personality,
Yes.
yes. And I'm sure Sister Linda, I want to thank her for contacting me and telling me about your music. And It's just awesome. I'm going to end the show tonight, or your interview tonight, not the show, but the interview tonight with Fear. But before I let you go, I ask all of my guests, including Steve Gully and Dale Ann Bradley from a couple months ago, I asked them the same question, and I'll ask you that as well. I think it gives our listeners a little insight into your personality, or maybe something a little deeper than what we cover, as far as talking over the music. But if there was one thing, Ken, that you would want our listeners to know about Ken Wilson, either professionally or personally, what would that one thing be?
I would say just to know that every word of my songs is true. My friends and family mean so much to me. And my sweet wife, Penny, the love of my life, I've written several songs on the project about her. And the one thing that I would want everybody to know is that their blood runs through these songs more than anybody will ever know.
Oh, wow.
And that without them, I don't have anything to sing about.
Oh, that's awesome.
That's cool.
That's a neat answer.
That's
I've
a
never
great
had
answer.
an answer like that. That's really cool. Well, Ken, we want to wish you good luck, and we want to thank you again for being, our guest tonight. I wish you very much success. I hope this time next year I can see you up maybe for an emerging artist or some kind of award.
An award, absolutely.
I'm all for that.
Well, good night, and thank you so much.
Thanks, Gracie and Tommy. I really appreciate what you all do for the music.
Oh, you're welcome. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Good night.
And that was our interview with Ken
Mr.
Wilson. Mr. Ken Wilson. Remember the name, remember the project Prodigal. Here's one that Tommy and I both agreed on that we wanted to interview. Or I'm not going to play your spunky one. I'm going to play Fear.
No, that's okay. I like this too.
There's nothing not to like on this.
Well, no.
I love
I like
this.
it. Such a good
These
point.
are all originals, folks. Listen to Fear.
Some things you never thought you could. I can make you go somewhere you never thought you would. In the morning of every day I'm waiting by your door. Ooh, I am fear. Ooh, I am fear. I can keep you in when you really ought to go. Tell you all these things to say when you should just say no. You can face me now or you can turn and run. Ooh, I am fear. Ooh, I am fear. Show up when I want, no I don't call ahead. I won't let you forget the things your daddy said. You need less of me than you really know. Use me to get your way, in the end you'll lose control. I can make you do some things you never thought you could. I can make you go somewhere you never thought you would. In the morning of every day I'm waiting by your door. Ooh,
You're listening to World Wide Bluegrass.